What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean 6 yet again, but specifically Johnny Depp's comments, Pirates of the Caribbean 6, because today, just a few hours ago, when Johnny Depp, and he's still, obviously testifying right now, but he said some pretty interesting things in terms of the entertainment world with Pirates 6 that really, again, this is a lot like last week, it hurt. Like, my head was kind of down, my eyes were kind of, like, it upset me, and we'll kind of go over it. So, I'm gonna try to pick through what he said and what the lawyer was trying to get at. I want to do that first just to kind of boil things down. Basically, I believe the point was to make it seem like Johnny Depp with Pirates had a future with Pirates of the Caribbean, right? This is when his own lawyers went back up, so they were doing redirect, and they were saying, okay, well, you had done Pirates, right? Very successful. And then when this op-ed piece happened, like, what were you about to do with Pirates? What was the long-term vision? Okay, that's it boiled down. What was the long-term vision of Pirates right before the op-ed happened? And Johnny Depp went into it. And I'm going to call BS on a little bit of what Johnny Depp said just because I think he was stretching it to make it seem like he had a much, much longer future with Pirates than he did. And we'll get there. So, again, that was the setup. She basically asked, all right, before this op-ed, everything was good. What was your plans, to your knowledge? Again, that's very lawyer-like, right? Because he wasn't allowed to bring in what Sean Bailey said, but he wanted to. And I want to talk about that because that was clearly the truth, and it's just because of hearsay and stuff, you can't say it in court. So basically, Johnny Depp said, all right, the plan was I was going to come back for Pirates 6. Now, he stretched it a little bit because at the end of his answer, he basically said he would go on as long as the franchise did. That's what he was getting at. As long as they wanted me and as long as there was a story left to tell, I would have done it. But really, again, a little bit exaggerating just to kind of make it out. I get it. I had no hard feelings, Johnny. But what it sounded like for Pirates 6 was two different things. Number one, and we've talked about this before, he was going to be brought on to co-write it. He was actually going to be a writer not just for Jack, but for the story in general. Now, I know he's been talked to about, I think he had a helping hand in 4 to some extent. I don't know the specifics, but I'm pretty sure they consulted him with 4. And as we know, he's really put himself into Jack. He rewrites a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the jokes, a lot of Jack's character is him in 1 through 5. In fact, we even got a little tidbit with 5 that he was absolutely not happy with the original script given to him for Jack and Pirates 5. He thought it was horrible. I mean, he said some horrible things about it. He hated it. So he was very upset about it. He was venting to other people, right? So he had to rewrite a lot of Jack and 5, which, by the way, let me just say, because I had big problems with Jack and 5, I would like, this is a little biased, I would like to give Johnny Depp credit for any good Jack Sparrow moments in 5, and there were some. I would like to give Johnny Depp credit for those, and any bad parts, I'd like to ideally believe that's just what the writers did, and he didn't, he couldn't get his version out. So I want to will that into existence, and honestly, that kind of makes sense. All right, one last thing, and this is kind of what upset me the most. So obviously, again, we knew about the co-writing thing. He was brought in. He was going to literally write it with them, not just Jack, but he was going to write the freaking film with them. And then obviously the whole thing went down and was destroyed. But he also talked about, and again, this is the entertainment aspect of Pirates of the Caribbean, that this was going to be a goodbye to the character. So again, that's where I'm going to call that he was lying and exaggerating. And I'm sure Amber's team had no idea what was going on because nobody really pays attention to this stuff as much as maybe like a diehard Pirates fan. He, in that moment, was talking about, well, these characters were so loved, and he did feel like there was an ending, a way you could say goodbye to these characters, and he wanted to give fans that goodbye. And by the way, he said characters plural, so I'm going to assume he meant Jack, Davy Jones, because he was brought back, Will, Elizabeth. At least those 4. Barbossa, you did give an end to in 5. Maybe you could have brought him back as a ghost or something in 6, but I'm going to assume that he meant at least those 4. And then a passing of the torch to the newer generation, which was what 5 was kind of starting. So I guess the reason that really hurt me is because, and again, I'm kind of like taking that and running with it. That hurt. That really hurt to hear because we all kind of knew that. But now, this is, I think, actually the point of the matter. We all knew that, but now we got Johnny Depp himself, the man, the myth, the legend, saying it out loud that he knew this was it. He knew 5 was a part 1 to a 6 part 2, and he wanted to wrap up these characters and wrap up this journey and say goodbye. And that hurts so much when you think of if this never happened. And we talked about this. What happens if he wins? What happens if he loses? Could he ever come back? Would he come back to Disney? What would that actually take? Would he even want to, right? We talked about that, but it's like if a 6 never happens to say goodbye to Jack Sparrow, and even if we do get a 6, I doubt it would be the version of 6 they wanted to do 5 years ago. It's been 5 years since Pirates 5, right? So I don't really think it would be the same thing. But, like, we could have got it. We could have got maybe not a perfect version. Maybe it wouldn't have matched 3 at World's End goodbye to these characters, which I think was flawless and about as perfect as you can get, saying goodbye to every character. Really, you didn't need to do this again with 4, 5, 6, but they wanted to, right? But it hurts so bad knowing that we knew this, that this was going to be our goodbye to us from them, but also that they knew that too. Specifically, the main man, also somebody who would have had a heavy hand in writing the movie, he also knew. So that was kind of it. And now, again, like, you can piece together, honestly, all of it at this point, thanks to Johnny and thanks to the testimony. They were going to make a 6. He was going to be brought in to help write 6, not just Jack, but the whole movie. That was planned. That, again, I'm going to call it there. I'm going to say that was going to be their it. Like, that was going to be the last time you see Jack. Maybe a cameo, but, like, in terms of him leading the movies, that was going to be the goodbye, right? Whether or not the directors from 5 were going to come back, conflicting, okay? Whether or not some of the characters should come back, right? So you had all that. This stuff happened. Disney dropped them immediately. Then, I'm not sure the timeline, because Jerry Bruckheimer's talked about it, other people, right? It seems like they kept going, and they did write a script without him, but it also sounds like there was a script with him, and maybe, but, like, I feel like he would have said that, because that would have made it more powerful to say, hey, I was brought in to write, and we actually wrote a script. But that is hearsay. Is there any way of proving that? Would Disney ever allow that to come out? So you'd have to like go to Disney and say, hey, can you prove that this script was I don't know if you'd even be able to do that. So I don't know, but it's always sounded like there's at least a script with Jack in 6 and without Jack in 6. And now we know the without Jack script had to have happened after he was dropped and after he was kicked out of the writing room. But I would like to know, was there ever one written with him in it? Or maybe he was dropped, and then Jerry and the creative team, after 2018, late 2018, then they wrote 2 different scripts. Without Johnny in the room, with him gone, maybe kicked out of Disney, they sat down and they wrote 2 different scripts, one with him in it, one without him in it. It just sucks. It just sucks that, again, from an entertainment point of view, and I get it, and again, I don't want to come across like I'm freaking kissing their shoes and saying, oh, I need this, like, to fulfill my life. It is a passion. I do, in a way, need it. Like, I want it, you know what I mean? So I don't want to come across too desperate, but I guess I already have, so I'm just going to own it. It just sucks that I want it. I still want it 5 years later. I've always wanted it, and Johnny Depp himself, like, wanted to... not me, wanted to give it to me, wanted to give it to us, saying goodbye. He was going to write a goodbye to Jack Sparrow and the rest of that cast. And that hurts. That hurts so bad that, F Amber Heard. that it never happened. And again, I pray that it will. I mean, we'll see. We've talked about it before. We'll see. Let the trial play out. Obviously, I'm covering the trial, but let the trial play out and see if we get apologies, see if he comes back to Hollywood in any capacity. The solace I take in it all, as I've said before, no Pirates movie ever going forward without him will ever work. They can try it next year, even if he loses. They can try it next year. They can try it in 2 years, 3 years, 4. They can do whatever they can do with Margot Robbie. They can do it with pick your superstar actor or actress. You will never succeed. That movie will fail immediately, and I'm happy about that. And so again, you put them in a tough spot, rightfully so, Disney. You put Disney in a tough spot because you say, go ahead, take the bait, do it without him. Go ahead, do it, because it's never going to work. Or you could bring him back, and then you could maybe play your shady deals, but guess what? You and him are going to have to work something out, and I don't think it's going to be easy for him to come back, you know what I mean? You'd have to give him a public apology. loads of money, creative freedom, storytelling, free, like all that stuff, you would have to give it to him or he's not in. And again, at this point, they are screwed because if he's not in, you're going to make the movie just to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. That will happen, and there's no getting around it. Meanwhile, by the way, they have no problem, as he pointed out, very good. The ride still exists. It's one of the most popular rides that's in Disney. That does well. He's still in it. They still sell Jack Sparrow merchandise. They still have books. They still have action figures. No big deal. We just can't have him in movies. F you. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I will have a trial recap highlight video as the day goes on as well, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.